Hi, I'm the Malt activist, and today we have with us not one, not two, but three whiskeys from what I think is, quite an underrated distillery from the Highlands. This is the Tomatin. Now the thing is, I don't have any bottles left of these of the three whiskeys that we're going to do today because I used them up in a tasting, but I do have 30 ml samples left, and that's what I wanted to share with you. So the three whiskeys in this video today are the Tomatin cask strength, the Tomatin 14-year-old port wood finish, and finally the 18-year-old sherry cask. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, wow, three for the price of one. This must be my lucky day. Well, yes, it is. Because what I'd really like is to be pleasantly surprised. And this is exactly what happened with Tomatin. So we had a tasting with my whiskey group a few days ago. And normally, we taste like, three whiskeys, and normally one is pretty decent, another is average, and the third one is normally not that good. But for this particular tasting that we had with their brand ambassador, Scott Adamson, I believe his name is, we tasted the first one, which was the cask strength, really, really nice. Then the 14 portwood finish, also very good. And finally, I think my favorite of the lot was the 18-year-old. And that was quite a fantastic little dram. So let's get into it. Here you go. What I like is they're all natural colored, no chill filtration. What you see is what you get. Yes, love this nose. There are no off notes. So this is a vatting of ex-bourbon and ex-sherry casks, both roughly 9 years old, put together and served at cask strength of 57.5% ABV. And what I love about this distillery, and they like to call them the softer side of the Highlands, what I love about this distillery is that the base spirit is just so good, and it's extremely robust. And never before in a distillery have I come across such strong, and extremely prominent signature flavors, because this one has such a strong honey, nutty, walnut, vanilla, custard, pudding, that particular flavor profile, and it just works really, really well. Strong candied ginger as well. That's from the sherry casks, but it has this overriding honey that I just can't, shake off. And this profile is present across all the other two whiskeys as well that we're going to try. So really, what happens is that they build on top of this base spirit. So this, I think, is their signature style. And then they use, port to add on flavors. Then they use different kinds of sherry to add on flavors. So they start off obviously with ex-bourbon, and then using that as a base, they build on top of that. Just absolutely cracking, not a single off note. I'm always extremely sensitive to sulfur, and the first thing I look for in a whiskey that's been anywhere close to sherry are those bad sulfur notes. And there's nothing in here that I can find, which is fantastic. So great nose, love it. Again, no off notes on the palate. Very, very strong, very juicy. That barley is It's very juicy, makes your mouth water. The honey, the fruits, very, very fruit forward, very honey forward. It's much sweeter on the palate than it's on the nose. Wow, and that finish, very, very long, quite oily as well. And just like an overall well-rounded whiskey. And that's what I like about it, you know. I can't say that it's absolutely spectacular, but you know, there's actually pretty much nothing wrong with it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's a great thing. Wow. Yeah. Bit of coconut husk in that second sip as well. So overall, I think fantastic dram, does the job. And I'm glad I sort of rediscovered this distillery. I had maybe a one-off bottle of Tomatin and it was never really on my radar, but you know, with this tasting, it is now definitely on my radar. I've managed to pick up a few bottles of this, and I suggest you do too. So cool, on to the next one. Hi, yes, and we're back with our second whiskey of the day, which is the 14-year-old Portwood finish. There you go, all natural. Love saying that. Well done, Tomatin. Tomatin. Sorry, I had to. I'm a dad, I'm allowed dad jokes. So, this one, I think, if I'm not 100% sure, but I think this is 11 years in ex-bourbon and then 3 years in Tawny port casks. The recipe was told to me by the brand ambassador and I just totally forgot, and now there's no more literature. So, but I think it's 11 plus 3. So like I said, I still get those, you know, signature distillery notes with that very, very strong honey and the vanilla and the coconut husk. But now with the port, I get some bananas, some darker fruits, you know, than I had on the cask strength that we tried before. This is more nutty as well, slightly tart. This is more chocolatey, more dates, you know, more date chocolate. You know, once again, you know, no off notes. That's what I like. There's no off notes. There's nothing that's going, I wish that wasn't there. Everything that needs to be here is in the glass. That's what I love. And the honey is darker here in this one as well. So definitely, like, you know, and I can tell, so you have that signature distillery profile, and then on top of that you have an additional layer of flavor and complexity, which I'm really drawn to. Cheers. So, medium to full delivery on that palate. You know, after tasting that cask strength, this 46% is really not doing it as much as it should on my palate, because I think my palate is already, my taste buds are already going, enough. So the 46% that this is bottled it at is, I think, a very, very good strength, and it helps brings out all the flavors really nicely. Again, you know, very straightforward transfer of notes from the nose onto the palate. So I get a strong honey and that vanilla and the coconut, but then the darker fruits going in there as well, and a lot of dark chocolate and dates as well. Finish is nice and long, medium to long, warming, and it has slightly, maybe some more elements of like burnt tea towards the end for some reason. So again, you know, quite decent. Absolutely nothing really wrong with this, and you know, I'd be happy to have this in my bar or have it offered to me at a friend's house. Because, yeah, it ticks all the boxes, and it's been very excellently constructed, and there's nothing wrong with it. Maybe a tinge of something bitter right at the end, which I can't put my finger on. I think that'd be the only flaw, but it's not enough for me to turn my nose up at it. You know what I'm saying? So thumbs up. I think this works, and works well. Cool. On to the next one. And our final dram for the evening, the 18-year-old, finished off in Oloroso Sherry Cask's first fill. So again, I was given the recipe by the brand ambassador at the tasting, and like an idiot, I forgot. But I think it's about 15 years in bourbon barrels, followed by 3 years in first fill Oloroso Sherry Casks. So you can see it's not a massively deep gold, brown, bronze that you would expect from first fill barrels. But maybe 3 years is not enough to really give it that color. But this is my favorite of the lot, by the way. Not because I'm an elitist and I like 18-year-old whiskeys, but this I think this is a much better example of when things are done in really, really good balance. So I think the bourbon spirit sort of really laid the foundation for this, and then re-racked in Oloroso Sherry casks and letting that letting the cask slowly impart that flavor into the liquid until it was just about perfect. Don't get me wrong, I like sherry bombs. But what I don't like is when very, very strong sherry overpowers the distillate, and that is a pet peeve of mine, where all I taste is like very, very strong sherry, and I don't like overly sherried whiskeys. Even the sherry bomb has to be done in a proper way. So this is a sherry finish. It's been finished off for, I think, 3 years. If you know better than I do, just leave it down in the comments below. But what it does do because of that is retain the distillery profile and that flavor, which I've actually fallen in love with, and I'm really, really happy to have found these. So perfect. It's that walnut, almond, milk chocolate, dark honey, just the lightest hint of tannins and oak, some spices, but they're in the background, just a hint of cinnamon, just a hint of nutmeg, some bananas. Now I'm getting bananas, but just expertly done, in my opinion. Love this nose. Yes, very good. So, sometimes there's a danger of liking a particular whiskey because you were sitting somewhere or you were having a good time and you like that particular whiskey, and then when you try it on your own, you're like, what the hell was all this fuss about? This is not as good as I remember it to be. This normally happens with Islay whiskeys for me, the festival bottles, because when we try them first, we're on the island, it's the festival, everyone's having a grand old time, and you're there tasting and with your friends, and every whiskey seems just tastes wonderful. And then you bring it back here in 50 degrees Celsius, and then you drink it and you're like, what the hell is this crap? But not with this. I tried it and I really liked it, and I was thinking, in the back of my head, I said, I'm going to do the video and I'm not going to like it. So what am I going to do then? Am I going to pretend that I really like it, or am I going to be like straight up honest and be like, oh, it's shit? But I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm so happy that this stood the test of time, in the sense that I enjoyed it with friends at a tasting where you're supposed to enjoy whiskeys, and I'm enjoying this on my own here right now as well. And this is from a sample bottle. I put it, a little sample bottle here, and I put it in there, and I saved it because I had to get rid of the bottles, and it's held up, and it's held up wonderfully. Yeah. So again, medium bodied on the delivery. The oak stands out nicely. I can get that chocolate and just again the lightest hint of tannins and spices, and it just works. You know, this is I think uncomplicated whiskey making at its finest, and I don't mean that in a bad sense, right? I think they've carefully formulated their recipe, and they're making it work. This is palatable across so many different palates, you know, seasoned palates and novice palates. And I don't think there's anyone who's going to be like, oh, I don't like this, or this is too much for me, or this is too less for me, because it just ticks all the boxes. And I think that, you know, walking that fine line is an art in itself. And I'm just glad that I've managed to discover or rediscover this distillery, and I'm happy that they're producing such fine quality spirit that you and I can enjoy, and I believe these are very decently priced, extremely decently priced. I don't know the numbers exactly, but you know, like 50 pounds roughly, 60 pounds for these bottles. And you know, I think that's a good price. Their age statement, right? So it's 14 and 18 years old. I'm telling you the cask strength is 9 years old. I've heard it from the horse's mouth. So there you go. So now you know what you're spending your money on. Happy with this one today, really am. And I'm glad I got to do all three at the same time for you. So thank you for joining me for this lovely whiskey review. I'm the Malt Activist. Until next time, peace.